Today we're going to talk about how to film a testimony video for your church. We'll talk about what to do when you first show up, what camera angles to get, tips for capturing your audio, and tips for conducting the interview. So buckle up, be sure to grab your coffee because there is a lot to cover. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim LaPointe, and I'm here to help your church make more engaging videos that communicate the gospel clearly to your congregation. Today's video is a part of the series that we've been going through on how to film a testimony video. So if you missed the other videos, make sure to check those out. And in the meantime, subscribe, turn on notifications so you don't miss the upcoming videos. So the first thing we're going to dig into is what to do when you first show up for that shoot. And so I think one of the most important things you can do in the beginning is setting clear expectations with the person that you're filming. Oftentimes the people that we're filming with don't really understand the level of production that goes into something like this. And so what I'll often do, I'm often filming at their home. I'll go inside, I'll introduce myself if we haven't met already. I'll let them know that I'm going to be bringing in a lot of gear. And then I'll say, hey, it's going to take me about X number of minutes to set up or so. And for me, that's typically about 30 minutes. I'm typically setting up by myself. If you have other people with you, maybe it's shorter, maybe it takes you longer, but I find that a lot of people expect that it's only going to take a couple of minutes because you just have to set up a camera and then you're ready to go, right? Well, we know that that's not actually true. So setting those expectations is really important up front, and then you can set up and get ready to roll. If you haven't already scouted the house to see where you want to film, this is the time to do so, and you may want to do it before bringing in all your gear. Now, my friend John Owens from Frame Voyager, he and I already made a video covering scouting out a house. But the quick and skinny of it, as they say, is that you're looking for places that either have good available natural light or a place that gives you space to set up your own lights. You're also looking for depth in your background, so there's a nice blurred background to your shot. And you're also looking for a background that obviously is going to be appropriate for your story. Moving on, what camera angles should you get? Now, I would recommend that you get two. I typically get a medium wide and a close-up. Now, having two camera angles prevents you from having to make a jump cut if you need to cut something out. So if they stutter or something like that, you have another angle that you can cut to and avoid having a jump cut. Two camera angles also adds more engagement to your video. So instead of having to linger on a shot for 20 seconds of that person talking, you now have two shots that you can cut back and forth between. So if you wanted to, you could be on the one camera angle for 10 seconds and you could cut to the other camera angle, and it adds more engagement to your video. Dad joke of the day: what did the Titanic and your kitchen have in common? The sink. I always try to keep my cameras at eye level or just above eye level. Too far above eye level and it can look kind of awkward, and below eye level looks pretty unflattering. So right at eye level. I'll typically have my interview subject here, my medium wide shot right next to them, and my close up right next to that medium wide shot. So if my subject is looking to camera right, I will have them framed on the left third of the frame. If my subject is looking camera left, I'll have them framed on the right third of the frame. And I try to keep their eye line about on that third as well. Obviously, make sure your shot is in focus. Another note about focal length: try and make sure that your medium wide is in fact a medium wide and your close-up is actually a close-up. I've seen some testimony videos where the medium wide and the close-up look almost like the same shot, and that can be a bit jarring to cut to the same focal length but at a different angle. For audio, I often use a lavalier microphone. I just find it a bit quicker to set up where I'm often shooting by myself. And so I love the Tascam DR10L. It's a great microphone, great quality audio, nice and small and portable, and also has great customizable options to get your audio the way that you want it. Typically for a lavalier microphone, I will have my subject run the cable down their shirt and clip it either onto their collar, or sometimes if men are wearing a button up, I'll have them clip it between the second and the third button on their shirt. Sometimes I'll try hiding it as well, depending on the situation. And there's great ways to do this. If you're in a pinch, medical tape is a great way to hide a lavalier microphone. You can tape it on the inside of their shirt. Side note here, and this is crucially important: before you start your interview, make sure that everybody's phone is on silent. One of the worst things that can happen is you can be in a really emotional part of the interview and somebody's phone goes off. Now, for conducting the interview, as far as questions to ask, I covered this in the planning for filming a testimony video, so be sure to go check that out. But I will typically have my interviewer, if it's not me, sit right next to that primary camera. Again, for me, that's the medium wide, and I'll try to put them at even level with the person that they're interviewing, meaning like trying to find the same chair for them to sit in so my subject isn't looking up at them, they're not looking down at them, trying to keep my interviewer at eye level with my interviewee. One thing I usually do too is I will pray with my subject before we start rolling. I'll pray that God will calm their nerves, that He'll cover them in their peace, that He will give them the words to say, that He will communicate the message that He wants to communicate through them. This is something that I think is crucially important for your testimony videos, is praying with not only your interview subject, but also your crew as well. So a few reminders that you should give them before the interview starts. One, make sure they talk in complete sentences. So if you ask them, hey, what's your favorite color? They're not going to say yellow. They're going to say, my favorite color is yellow. This is really important for your edit. Tell them to just pretend like you're having a conversation at a coffee shop. Don't be nervous. Pretend like the cameras aren't there. Make sure to keep eye contact with me and don't look at the cameras as best as you can. You really want them to avoid looking at the cameras. Now, make sure not to react audibly while they're talking. No, yeah, that's great. Because their microphone will probably pick that up and that could ruin your take. So make sure you can still nod your head, smile, that's totally fine, but make sure not to audibly react. Give them a couple seconds of space after they finish talking, and don't jump into your next question right away. Sometimes you might end up cutting them off from their next thought. They might say, hey, I really feel that God has worked in an incredible way through this situation. And I also think that had you jumped into that space there, you would have cut them off and you might have prevented a really great soundbite. So make sure to give them a couple seconds of space after they finished their sentence. Bonus tip, once you start recording on your cameras and your audio, have your subject clap in view of both cameras. Having that audio peak that you can look at in the waveform in the edit will be super helpful to match with the visual reference of their clap. So it'll help you sync up your cameras and your audio in post. So there it is, the basics of filming a testimony video. If you have any questions or you feel like I missed something, let me know in the comment section below. Click that thumbs up button if you found this helpful so that YouTube knows that you found this helpful. And be sure to subscribe, turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video.